Hello students, we are beginning with the part 2 of water resources, means of irrigation, and I'm explaining you this on behalf of personal tutors. The last time we tried to understand what is irrigation and why do we really need irrigation. We have discussed about the need of irrigation and what exactly is irrigation. We have said it's an artificial way of giving water, and we need to give irrigation to the agricultural land because of seasonal rainfall, maybe because of the type of soil and the uncertainty of rainfall. Now, in different parts of the country, the means of irrigation are different depending upon the conditions over there. Say, for example, in northern India, it is mainly the canal irrigation, while in the southern India, it is the tank irrigation. So when you deal with this particular part, you need to know why is canal irrigation popular in the northern part and why is tank irrigation popular in the southern part of the country. Why do we really have canals in the north and why do we have tanks in the south? Similarly, we try to understand why tube wells are not very popular in the southern part of the country and they are popular in the northern part of the country. So we look into these various aspects, but first we deal with the canal irrigation. What exactly is canal irrigation? When we are saying canal irrigation, we are saying that from the river, a water channel has been drawn, a water channel has been taken out, and the water is stored in the tanks or in certain other place from where it will be utilized later on. So we are saying we are diverting the direction of the river. We are diverting a part of the water from the river for storing it and utilizing it later on. So we are calling it as canal irrigation. Water channel taken out from the river, and this water is stored and utilized later on. So we call it as canal irrigation. If you look at this is a river, and from this river a water channel has been drawn out. This water channel ultimately leads to a storage tank where the water is being stored. This stored water is utilized or given whenever required to the farmers for their agriculture purpose. So this is what we are calling as canal irrigation. When we deal with canal irrigation, there are two types of canal irrigation: inundation canals and perennial canals. When we are saying inundation canals, it is just that the river is flowing, and generally we have read about the stages of the river. When the river is flowing from the mountainous region, the initial first few kilometers it is called as upper course, and when it flows through the plain area and goes to a still plain area, it is called as lower course. So generally when the river is at a lower course, not at a very high height, the inundation canals are made. These canals, there are no barrages or dams. You must have seen that there are barrages and dams to stop the flow of water, something like a gate which rotates and can be lifted up. It can be lifted up and then it allows the water to flow. But in case if we pull down this iron shutter down, then it will not allow the water to flow further towards that particular direction. So we are saying that there are certain canals which do not have anything to stop the flow of water. The barrage has not been constructed in case of inundation canals. There is nothing which can stop the flow of water. The flow of water is taking place because the river is flooded. The river was flowing in its course, and during monsoon rainy season, the amount of rainfall, the amount of water has crossed this particular level and has started flowing out. So in that case, they have constructed the channel through which the water will flow out. That is called as an inundation canal. There is the channel drawn to provide water during the rainy season. So this inundation canals, they only provide water during the rainy season when the river overflows. only during that time it provides water. Therefore, it irrigates a smaller area. It does not irrigate a very large area. And its construction cost is cheaper. We are just making a channel for the water to flow. So we are not doing much of in construction work there. This construction cost is cheaper over there. So we said inundation canals, there are no barrages, there are no dam to store the water. It provides water only during the rainy season. It irrigates a smaller area. Only during this much time the water will be available. It may not go out to farther areas, so irrigates smaller area, and it's comparatively cheaper. Whereas perennial canals are the ones where there are barrages. If the water was flowing through the river and a channel has been drawn, the water has been stored, then there are barrages to stop the flow of water. If this is filled, then there is some method that I put the iron shutter down and the water will not go further. So that means that there is some method to stop the flow of the water. There are barrages, there are ways to store the water. Therefore, because there is stored water which can be utilized later on during the year, so it provides water throughout the year to the region. It irrigates comparatively larger area and its construction cost is higher. The canals are generally popular in North India. They are a popular means of irrigation in North India. Why? You need to understand the essential conditions where canals can be dug. First thing is that when you are saying that the water should be stored and the water has to be given to the agricultural field, there should be a perennial source of water. North India, the rivers are snow fed. Most of the Himalayan rivers are coming from the glaciers which keep melting on the higher levels. So they keep providing water throughout the year. So the North Indian rivers are perennial, they are snow fed, and that is how they provide water throughout the year, and that is how the canals are constructed. And if you are investing in the construction cost is high, so when you are investing in the money, you are seeing to it that the river provides you the sufficient water. Secondly, the soil should be soft. There should be soft soil. You cannot dig a canal if it is a sand, if it is a area which is very hard. It will not be possible to dig the land. So the soil should be also soft. And thirdly, it should be a level land, more or less level land where you are constructing this canal, so that the water can flow easily. So looking at these conditions, North India, the canals are popular because here there is mainly alluvial soil deposited over a number of years. So the soil is soft. The region has perennial source of rivers. The rivers are perennial, and then there is a vast agricultural land where the water can be supplied. So that is how the North India, the river perennial canals are popular. We look at the advantages and disadvantages. When we look at the advantages of perennial, of both the canals, canal irrigation in general, if we talk about the advantages, they provide the rainwater which would have otherwise flown waste. So this is an important advantage of the canal irrigation. The disadvantages, when you look at, there are certain disadvantages of canal irrigation which we can say, like there is problem of salt effervescence. There is this problem of salt effervescence. Then there is this problem of water logging which occurs because of Now what happens is the water is flowing through a particular channel and coming to the fields. There may be times when the water is very high. The water was flowing through a particular channel and going to the tank or is being given to the field. If excess water is given, then it gets stored on the ground itself, and the ground water table increases. The water that has been given is in excess quantity. This water gets stored here itself, and the underground water table tends to rise. This underground water table tends to rise, and whatever were the salts in the water that was inside tend to come on the soil here. You can see white colored lines, white colored patches, which is called as salt effervescence. If this water level rises because of constant standing water, this constant standing water is called as waterlogging, which can create some problems in the area, like there can be mosquitoes and other things. Because of this, the water is constantly standing and raising the level of the underground water table, and when the water comes up, there is the salts from deep inside come on the surface, and this problem is called as salt effervescence. And the second one is the problem of waterlogging. When the excess water is given, the water keeps standing, it may even spoil the crop that is there. So we are saying the disadvantages is salt effervescence and waterlogging. We look at the next one, the tank irrigation. When we speak about tank irrigation, these are natural hollows to collect rainwater. In a particular region, particularly in southern India, it may be natural hollows. The land is not very plain, not very straight, and there is this natural hollow into which the water gets stored. It's in land which is like that. So this type of tanks are very popular in southern India. In southern India, the land is not evenly straight, but it has some kind of terrain like this, where this tanks are constructed and water is stored. So why they are popular? Because of this uneven terrain. The terrain is uneven, and other than that, the rocks are hard, so it's very difficult to construct the canal irrigation. The rocks are non-porous. They do not allow the water to percolate down to the lower layers. That means if you are storing water here, the rocks are hard rocks. They are non-porous rock. This water will not go down to the lower layers. It will remain here itself, non-porous rocks. And there are no perennial rivers. The rivers are not perennial. There is not constant flow of water here through the perennial rivers. So that is why they are popular in Deccan region. What are the advantages of tank irrigation? It's already a hollow which is present there, and you have to just do a little more further construction there. So they are cheaper. You don't have to construct them like canals. You don't have to dig a channel like canal. It is already prevalent. And you are further constructing something to store this water. So they are cheaper. And then what is the advantage? You have constructed it. You are collecting the monsoon rainfall. The water which is coming to you as rain, that water is being stored as the tank water. The disadvantages, when we look, this water which is here doesn't move from this place. It remains here, and it can be taken out whenever the need is. So because of this constantly standing water here, the water is constantly stored here. Whatever are the particles into the water, they go and deposit at a lower layer. Whatever is the particles here, they go and deposit over here. That is how we are saying that silting of the tank. Because the water was standing here constantly, it was just stagnant water. Whatever were the particles, they have settled down. These tanks are generally not very deep because they are naturally made. So they dry up in the dry season. And moreover, sometimes it may so happen that you may extend these tanks a little more to store more water. So they take up an agricultural area here. You have made a tank where some kind of agriculture was done. So they occupy large agricultural area where the farmer could have grown something. You have actually stored water. So they occupy large agricultural areas. These are the disadvantages of tank irrigation. Now we look at the well irrigation. Wells are the hollows made on the ground to take out water from the underground level. We are saying from a deep inside where they find that there is water table, they dig it deep inside till that region to take out the water from there. Wells are of two kinds, lined wells and unlined wells, depending upon the depth from which you are taking out the water. If the water is quite high in amount, the farmer may do a brick construction here. It may become a permanent kind of well, which we call it as lined well. We call this as lined well. But if the farmer doesn't feel that this is required and he just digs a hole till the water table, then we call it as unlined well. The well is called as unlined. There is no brick type of structure made here. There is no permanent structure made here. It's just the earth which has been dug. Whereas in case of lined well, the farmer has made a permanent bricks have been put up in the proper place. A proper method of taking out water has been done. It's called as lined well. Now, what are the advantages of well irrigation? It's very easy for the farmer to dig, cheaper for the farmer to dig. It doesn't require much amount of money. They just occupy a very small area, not a much larger area. Moreover, the farmer can dig the well in his own farmland. That means he has the supply of water at his own hand. Whenever he feels it correct to be given to the agricultural land at that time, and how much amount of water he feels should be given, only that much amount of water he'll give it on the land. So it's an independent source. By independent source we mean that the farmer has the land. On that land itself he has dug the well, and he can utilize the water as and when he requires, according to his need. But then there are certain disadvantages, like generally to take out water they utilize the animal to pull out the water from the well. So it's a time consuming job. It's time consuming to take out the water and give it to the agricultural land. And sometimes the water may be brackish, it may be salty water. The water may be brackish, salty, which may be given to the agricultural land. That is a disadvantage of the well irrigation. Tube wells are similar to wells, but these are deeper. These are deep bore wells. And in construction of tube wells, they require that the groundwater level should be high. Along with that, because they work on electricity, there should be cheap electric supply, preferably cheap hydroelectricity should be there to construct the tube wells. The agricultural land around it should be fertile, because the farmer is going to invest money into digging the tube well, as well as the tube well requires electric supply. So he would like to utilize it to the maximum. That means he'll see to it that the agricultural land is sufficient for him to provide the water. Soil should be soft. It cannot be done on a hard land. The soft soil should be there. Same is with the wells. The soil should be soft, and then the groundwater level should be high. What are the advantages of this tube wells? It irrigates larger area. because the water is not, there is no strain to the farmer. He doesn't have to pull it out. It's through the electricity that the tube well takes out the water. It irrigates larger area, but then the disadvantage is it is costly. It's not a cheaper mode of means of irrigation. सब बंद कर दीजिए इसको.